Hello and welcome to Croissants, our daily podcast straight from Paris at the Olympic Games. I'm here with my two very special guests, Audrey Addition, former national French team member, and Simon Fairweather, a gold medalist from the Sydney Olympics. Very happy to have both of you here.
Bonjour. Thank you for the invitation.
Glad to be back again.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining me. And today there is one thing we need to talk about. Lim Shi Hyun. So she shot an incredible world record yesterday. Simon, wow.
Yeah, spectacular. We were lucky enough to be sitting on the side of the field right next to the target she was shooting on. She was on target one. And you got to see the arrows coming straight past us and able to eyeball the target from where we were sitting without even needing binoculars or anything. It was great to see. And what a start to her campaign.
For sure. Audrey, 694.
She shot amazing. She was so great, and I wasn't lucky as you. I didn't see it with my eyes. I just was scrolling my phone like that. Like, wow, she's doing it. She's doing it. Wow, 353. That's
60 on the last end of that bracket too.
So what? She's not stressed? Well, at the breakfast she ate the stress like that with orange juice. And she's shooting like that. Wow, she was amazing, really amazing.
Yeah, I was there and I was following her every end, and there was this energy about her. Did you feel that too, Simon?
No, not from where I was sitting. I couldn't tell, like we were too far away. But really interesting though that you have that little break between the first bracket and the second bracket, and we're like, okay, is she going to keep steamrolling on, or is the break going to interrupt things? And it was almost dead calm for that first bracket. Like it was just this faint little wafting wind from behind, so it has almost no effect from behind. And the wind just sort of puffed up a little bit. We thought, oh, here it comes. But it sort of died off again. But we were wondering, is it going to interrupt her mindset, or is she going to keep? And I think she maybe had a bit of time to think about it. And
she was like really focused and concentrate.
Yeah.
Did she talk with other archers or coach, or she just walk and shoot?
So one thing I did notice, and this part is just a coincidence. She was on target number 1.
Yeah.
So she had 1 on her quiver, which was kind of cool to see. She was always the first person to shoot, really quick. I think she might have even shot the first arrow of the Olympics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was really trying to see, okay, who's it going to be?
Yeah.
Lifted, came to full draw, really quick shot. She was also always the first archer to walk to the targets. Also always the first archer to walk back, because she was on target 1, so she could come back through that platform. And there was just something about that energy about her. It just seemed very confident, and that's what I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just focused and confident.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
Yeah.
It's interesting the layout of the field too, having those walkways that the archers have to go down. So for those people who haven't, well, no one at home would know, but the field, the ranking round field, is actually situated over top of a main road. So they've actually had to cover all of the asphalt with AstroTurf. But because of the fact that it's the curbs and up and down of the ground, they've had to level the area where the targets are on a plinth, and where the shooting line is, the archers are on a plinth, and they're connected by walkways. So instead of the archers just walking straight ahead to the targets from where they shoot, they have to come around and get channeled down these walkways, like we're on catwalk. And some of the archers, as they were coming past the tent we were watching from, they were saying this was really strange, like we're on parade or something. Yeah, they all looked a bit self-conscious as they were coming past, and trying to look focused. And
I think part of it was their focus about not falling off the platforms, because I know
because there is like
you wouldn't want to fall off
lot of meter, difference meter.
Maybe 2 feet off the ground. It's a bit of a step. Yeah.
Ah yes, okay.
I mean, this is an aside, but during the qualifications, I went to the other side of the field, and Penny Healy told me she's like, "There's a butterfly there." So there's a butterfly right in the middle of this catwalk. So all these archers have named this butterfly Archie.
Oh, cute.
And they're all intentionally avoiding this tiny little butterfly. These Olympians shooting their Olympics are making way for this tiny butterfly in every end, back and forth.
Oh, they're cute. They're cute.
Yeah, but luckily on Lim Shi Hyun's side, they didn't have to care at all. They're just focused on the arrows. And you're talking about the conditions, Simon, and how the wind picked up a little bit. So what were your experiences and what did you feel? What did you see?
Well, as I said, it was a tailwind most of the time. So, you would expect that to have really little effect on the flight of the arrows and the consistency. I think probably when it picked up a little bit, it's more likely that it would have played on people's minds more than affected their shooting, like where the arrows were going. So just that, there gets a point in a round too, I think, when it's a big pressure event where it has time to sink into the archers' minds, like like that first arrow, often you shoot before you suddenly feel the nerves, and then the second arrow is terrible because you have the adrenaline rush, and that's the hard one to shoot. And maybe it's similar with the ends too. There's a certain point through the round where people have had time to sort of compute what's going on, and it sinks in. This is the Olympics, the round I've been waiting to shoot or spend all this time preparing for, and depending on how they're shooting, whether they're struggling or making a bit of a move or whatever, all starts to settle into people's consciousness, and affects, you see people going up and down in the lists. And I think maybe at that point where it changed from the first bracket to the second bracket with a bit of a break and a little bit of wind and it got a little bit warmer, whether it just, for some people took the edge off their focus, other people would have given time to regroup and make a move back up the list. So I wasn't surprised to see Lim drop off the pace a bit, especially she had time. We saw her as she came off the line after the first bracket, and she walked to her coach, and they bumped fists. And you could see they knew that with that last end, they were on the cusp of a record, and what she could shoot, she shot a 60 on it. So, like as they walked off, they shared that little moment of like, yes, we got it, okay, tick. But then that's going to be settling into a mind. Okay, now the next step is if I can do another good bracket.
Qualification is so long.
Because she was in a position to break the men's record. Like she could have had a higher record. The women's record could have been more than the men's. It was within her reach, but the momentum I think just changed a bit. And next time maybe.
Yeah.
So let's rewind just a little bit because you said so many great things in there. First, the tailwind, and then also that break. So Audrey, there's maybe people who are not that familiar with archery. Let's talk about the conditions and why a tailwind might not affect your arrows as much as a different kind of wind.
Tailwind? What does it
coming
mean?
from behind.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
No.
Okay, it's just that the worst wind for us is the wind who is doing right and then left and then right and then left. This one is like terrible because you are really to be focused. This is what is beautiful with archery, that it's the lucky part maybe. It's because it's outside at 70 meters, so you have to stay focused every time just to see the trees or things like that. But actually, when it's from tailwind. Okay.
What is it in French?
Vent arrière. Vent, it's wind. Arrière, it's back.
Gotcha.
So there is I don't know if there is really a word for that. Sorry, I'm not that good in French
I'm
either.
not.
So actually, when it's from the back, sometimes it's affect. It's affect, and the arrow can go up. So you have also to be focused. If there is no wind, maybe it go down actually. So you have to put a little of your sight. There is two strategy. You can just put your sight little down or little up, but it's actually hard I think to do just little up or little down. But if it's regular, that's great. Actually, the wind when it's regular, if it's from the back or from the west east, if it's regular,
particularly if it's a strong wind, if it's coming from behind, it's not so bad, and it's also it doesn't affect your aiming as much. But when it's coming from the front, then it's in your face, and you can sort of feel it moving the bow, and the arrows are either climbing up the wind as it's coming towards you, or it's adding more drag to them, and then they can drop off. It gets quite complicated and lucky.
But when I saw the result, I thought that the windy condition was perfect because
certainly the first bracket it was.
But maybe the afternoon it was.
So the afternoon,
more windy,
I spoke to one of the coaches after the men had finished, and she was saying that it was one of those winds where it wasn't pushing the arrows much, but it kept changing back and forward. So you had to be watching it all the time.
It was changing left, right, or from the back.
Well, I think it was still from behind, but it was tending to to hook around a little bit from one
Okay.
side and then the other. And
Yeah.
yeah, she said that her archer was having to play catch up a lot, like, keeping track of where it was
Stay
going.
focused
Yeah,
every time.
Yeah, he was getting caught out occasionally where he stopped looking at that and was focusing on shooting and realising he wasn't aiming in the right place. Yeah.
So what's crazy
Tricky.
is that we have all these natural conditions, and Lim Shi-hun, she's like a machine, right? I don't think I definitely couldn't shoot the score in like a vacuum without any.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? Like there's
Maybe
no
at
way.
30 meters, and I'm not sure.
and there's still the 122 cent in your face, maybe if I'm really focused. But so Audrey, I was with her at the half break. There's
Okay.
15 minutes in between the 36
Yeah.
arrows and 36 arrows. I was just watching her. That last end, she actually shot a Robin Hood, which is really awesome. She was taking off that knock and throwing it away, and we're like, wait, this is like Olympic, like really valuable stuff. So I pulled it out of the garbage, and we're gonna bring it to maybe the Olympic Museum. Yeah, so you're welcome. I did some dumpster diving for the Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah, and actually, a coach, I won't say who, but a coach from another country came and said to her, "You're on track for the world record. You're gonna probably smash it. Someone may never beat it again." And she's just there, and her coach, I could see, was trying to shelter
It
her.
was another nationality coach or a Korean
Yes,
coach?
it was a Korean coach from a different country,
Okay.
and we won't say who, but what kind of things would go through an archer's mind who's on track to absolutely shatter a world record?
Actually, I wanted to ask you how was she, what she did in these 15 minutes, because I think it's like a lot of tension. Did she stay alone? Did she put some music? Sometimes Archer put music between in this moment just to stay focused. And well, I'm not sure. I'm really happy to hear something like that. That someone is going. Well, a coach. I think everyone knows that she's going to do something great, but also it's a part of the game, and it's a beautiful game that. It's like beautiful problem maybe for her, when someone is going to say, "Hey, you are doing great job. You are maybe going to break something amazing." Well, it's a beautiful problem for you.
That's a very glass half full
Yeah,
attitude, isn't it? It's very positive
so
thinking, because many people would think it the other way, like it's one more of the hurdles between you and achieving the result. Another problem.
Yeah,
another
you're
problem,
right.
Another problem. So you're
But
very
so-
positive. You're very positive.
No, but I think it's like I was thinking that when I was in the French team. When I was really stressed in the final venue or things like that, I was like, I'm so stressed. Will I miss the target? Will I miss the yellow? And my friend Lisa, she told me, well, that's a beautiful problem, That's great to have this feeling. You're alive and you are living good things. That's stressful, but that's a beautiful problem, Things like that. So actually, I was so stressed for her just sitting in my apartment yesterday, so I can't imagine what was in her mind. And I think it's part of the job that people going to say, wow, you are so strong. You just have maybe to say, okay, yeah, I know that I'm strong. Okay, now I'm back on my routine again and just shoot. And I was really impressed of her qualification, because the last end, there was a picture on Instagram of World Archery, and we saw that she checked. No, how do you say when you are doing that?
Oh, like fist bump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She fist bumped her coach, and you can see in the background that it was 30 seconds left. So
Quick, yeah.
really quick.
What an observation from you, Audrey.
Like I was like, so amazing. She was like, okay, I'm doing the world record. That's okay. Drop and yeah.
But, obviously great timing, because she didn't look hurried either. Like, it wasn't that she was rushing. All the shots were just methodical and easy.
Okay.
But no wasted time, no hesitation, just clean shooting
And she shot really quick also.
Yeah. But I mean, tell everybody at home why timing is so important. I mean, you can answer that.
Well, I guess it has two effects. Having a good rhythm and quick shooting can keep physically makes a good shot. You know, your muscle tension remains the same. You don't sort of you don't change your structure and technique, you know, from shot to shot. If you have a good momentum and you're not hesitating and you're quick. But maybe more importantly, it means that you are not thinking about your shooting. You're relying on all of the practice you've done beforehand, and you've got your routine, and you're just getting on with it. Step, 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 step. You know, do, not hesitating, thinking, wondering, pondering, worrying, you know.
Processing.
Processing. I mean, the last thing you want to be doing at full draw when you're aiming is thinking, what will I do next? I mean, the shot's already ruined at that point. And, you know, in big events like this, you know, there's so many other things that you could be also piling onto the what if you're thinking about it instead of just getting on with shooting the shot. So quick shooting is always better. Yeah, it's less fragile. It's robust. Yeah.
So I was there with her on her last end, and so she needed a 57 to break the world record, right? Her first arrow, so I think it was actually a 59 out of 60 that she shot. Correct me if I'm wrong at home.
You mean the last of the 72?
The last of 72.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I thought the 60 was the first break.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, and you're right. She needed 57 on the very last
Exactly.
end.
Yeah.
And that was 59, which is fantastic under the
Clearly.
pressure. Yeah.
So I'm standing right beside her coach, and coaches always they have this method in Korea where they'll like point. So if they're pointing up to the right like this, it's a 9.
9, yeah.
So they go like this, it's an 8. And then they kind of show what direction. And they'll also say something like 9.5. And that's kind of like right here, not halfway towards a 10. So convenient that we have a target here. I guess if you're just listening to this, then you have no idea what I'm doing. But anyways, on the video you can see. So first arrow was a 9. And I, myself, and everybody behind me were all like, oh, no. We're 1/3 there, but can she make it happen? So what goes on in Archer's mind in that last end, Audrey? Do you think she had that score in her mind?
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Of course she had it. But I think her mental is so impressive that it's like, okay, like what I said, it's like, okay, I have to shoot that. But now I have to focus. You know, Mr. O, the head coach of French team now, he always told us that the mental game of Korean is great because even if they are shooting at really high level, they just focus in one technical point. It's no mental point. Like sometimes you just want to be aggressive or sometimes smooth. It's like just thinking of one technical point and maybe she just did that, and she's strong to doing that.
I think the Koreans are very good at working with the directions from their coaches. You know, so without questioning it. You know, they trust their coaches, and they've worked with them for so long that, you know, when they step up to shoot the next arrow, and the coach says, you know, do this and do this, and they nod and, you know, get on with it. It really seems to work for them that they're able to just focus on that new task rather than saying, I've got my own thoughts and issues that I'm dealing with, and the coach is telling me to do this, and I've got all this stuff happening. They seem to be very good at just,
you're right.
You know, that's the new task. Okay, that's what I'll do, this arrow, and they accept it and do it with willingness and focus. You know, and I think that's you know, a real strength for them. Also, I was thinking yesterday, I wonder what they were feeling like as they started the ranking round. You know, I remember what it's like when I shot them, and you know, you have all those thoughts about, okay, this is it, this is the Olympics, and you know, here we go, what's going to happen? You know, they're at the end of a very long selection process where they've been shooting and shooting and
They're
shooting.
like survivors.
Yeah, that's right. So it almost is like, I'm sure in the last month since the last competition, that they will have been also still practicing that same high pressure stuff. And they've got, you know, we saw on the World Archery channel
they
practice.
recreated.
They've got set up their own finals field, so with all the banners that are here, and so they're very familiar with what it looks like. But they've been practicing that high pressure shooting for months and months and months. I wonder whether they just feel like, here we are again, you know, another day.
Yes, you're right.
A bit like, you know, when you've had a national selection, at the end of the selection, the nerves and everything have been sort of addressed. You know, at the beginning of selection, everybody's stressed. By the time you've finished, you're actually able to focus on trying to shoot well, not thinking about nerves and what ifs, unless it's maybe do or die last hour to make the team, but more matter of fact about it. And I wonder whether that's the attitude when they get here, because they've done all of that practice. It's all high pressure because, with the depth of the Korean squads, it's like a World Championships or Olympics every time they try and make their team. Yeah, I wonder whether they feel comfortable or whether they're like everyone else and going, oh, it's the Olympics, here we go.
But comfortable, but it's also a lot of stress, you say, with the 10 thing, the girls, they have to be the, how can I say, the 10th teams? 10. Yeah. To win the Olympics. Is it like a big pressure, or is it just chilling and shooting? Because Olympics, it's actually for them, Olympics, it's clearly easier than national trials.
Yeah, they always say that making the national team is harder than winning the Olympics.
Yeah,
because they've been through so much, and there's just such a depth of talent.
You also wonder whether they're exhausted by the time they get here. Have they spent their best shooting just making the team, and now they're sort of
yes,
we're not even actually seeing their best shooting because they've already done it just to be here.
I really like what you said, Simon, about how the Korean archers just follow the coaches' orders or whatever. I had spent some time training in Korea, and I think part of that is really cultural. It's all about respecting your elders and hierarchy and that type of thing, order. So I do think it's cultural. But let's bring it back to Im Shian. I want to ask you both a very simple question. Will she be the best ever?
Because you remember what you said 2 days ago about the first ranking malediction?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem to hold for the women, does it? The women have gone on to win after ranking first.
Right.
We did find that none of the men had. In fact, I think the article that was published today said that only one person had even made it onto the dais, like even medalled after ranking first.
Okay.
Well, maybe if she can break that curse.
But for the men, for the women, rather.
Women,
they have done it.
Yes,
so
you're right. Yes, she could. But no, she will not. A French will be Olympic champion.
Touché.
Of course.
Of course.
No.
There's some very strong women there, but I want to ask you, direct question: can she be the best ever?
Yeah, maybe. She's not world number one, but she had won so many competitions yet. She's really amazing.
And can she be as legendary as you've become in archery, Simon?
Well, that depends who's advocating for her. I'm sure she can go on to have an amazing career. Like you can't break the world record and not be in a great position to go on and be maybe one of the best ever. Yeah.
So we'll have to see what she does. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. We could probably talk for hours, but also thank you for joining us at home. This was Croissants, our daily chat live from Paris Olympics. We'll see you tomorrow.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.